This is the North Georgia Life Podcast. Embrace life where you live. Welcome to the North Georgia Life Podcast. Pretty neat episode for you is in store today. The folks that I have on the program, you can just tell they are passionate about what they do. They are representative from the Georgia DNR, speaking about the Hardman Farm, which is on the outskirts of Helen. If you know where the Indian Burial Mound is, which pretty much everyone does that has been up to or through Helen, that's usually where the traffic starts if you hadn't already hit it. So you talk about a really, really neat property. There is a lot to do. They've got a lot going on, and the folks that I have on the show have really, really done a fantastic job of making it more accessible, family-friendly, and having some really great activities in store for us in the North Georgia region. So we hope you enjoy it, and we'll get out there to check out what they have in store sometime soon. Welcome to the North Georgia Life Podcast. We have one of the goals of the show today, and that is hidden treasures in our North Georgia area. I will confess this has been a site that I have driven by probably 30, 40 times and had no idea it was even here. And then I started doing some research and think we've got a pretty neat episode for you today. And for those of you watching online, this is not actually my giant tricycle, unicycle thing behind us. That is someone else's. Mine I keep at home in the barn. So we are here at the Hardman Farm State Historic Site on the outskirts of Helen, Georgia. The reason most of us miss this particular site is because it is right beyond the ancient Indian historical burial site. I don't know what the official term is, but it's the thing everybody looks at that's got the white thing on the top of the hill, that thing. Then when you're going into Helen, that's the thing. Well, this is right across the street. So I told you didn't even know it was here. But it is a great family stop, and we're going to share with you a little bit about that and what it is and some things to enjoy while you're coming up to Helen other than the traffic. So I'm here today with Scarlett Fuller, who is the marketing and event coordinator for the property, and Clint Joyner, who is the assistant manager. So guys, thanks for taking some time out of your day to be with us.
Sure.
We'll try to maximize your time here.
Thanks for having us.
So share with us a little bit about you, how you got here to North Georgia.
Sure. I consider North Georgia home. I've been here 13 years. Basically the second home I've ever had. I spent my first 18 years in South Georgia in the Sylvester area. And then I went to college in Savannah. And after college and my husband got out of the military, we headed straight for the hills for cooler, better weather. We loved hiking and biking and camping. And so this was just a perfect natural fit. He was also went to Toccoa Falls College. So it was just perfect fit for us. And we've pretty much been here ever since.
Okay, cool. And Clint, you're from the Savannah area? Yeah, you can just pivot that.
Yeah, I'm actually from Southeast Georgia, also from the Brunswick area, and grew up in Brunswick pretty much all my life. Went to school a couple of places throughout the state. Working on Jekyll Island at the museum, and then November the mountains came calling, so I moved up here.
Cool. So we were talking off camera that if you gotta leave the beach, the mountains isn't a bad relocation.
Yeah, we actually have seasons up here, so it's nice.
Yeah, and coincidentally, probably about the same number of tourists.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you win or lose for that, but
yeah, it definitely backs up on the busier weekends.
Yeah. You've got a unique location here, really unique positions here. Tell us a little bit about how you found yourself in a position like this at a place like the Hardman Farm.
Well, for me, I've been working with Georgia State Parks and Historic Sites for about 3 years. And then prior to that, I had worked part-time at Tallulah Gorge State Park, and then I also worked for Coastal Resources Division in Savannah when I was there. So I had off and on experience with DNR a lot, and it's an organization that I really love. The people in DNR and parks especially are just wonderful, and so you just can't ask for a better coworkers and work environment. So I've really enjoyed being part of Georgia State Parks.
Mm-hmm. Is it anything like Parks and Recreation?
No.
You don't have a Ron Swanson in the office?
But we do have a lot of fun. The public, when we talk to people, I can't tell you how many times people go, boy, you must just have the coolest job, or you just must have the funnest job. And it's really true, because we do kind of have the coolest job and the funnest job. And, we may not make the mega bucks in Atlanta, but look around you, it's
not
totally,
terrible.
It's not terrible. So in my experience, the people with Parks and with DNR do what they do because they love it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Clint, what about you? What made you make the change from Jekyll?
Well, the season's certainly not a deterrent, but we were. I've got a family, two smaller kids, and we were looking at eventually making the move up here and to this area, and it seemed like a good natural fit. Mm-hmm. The site itself, from where I was coming from on Jekyll, on the first day I was kind of getting the grand tour. Will Wagner, our GM, went to a couple of different locations within our site, and I was thinking, man, this feels like home. Very similar time period, very similar structures to what I was used to back with the historic site on Jekyll. So it really seemed like it made the transition a lot smoother coming up here.
Yeah. So let's kind of dive into that. So are we actually in the ancient building here? Is this over 100 years old?
No, this building is right at about the 100-year mark, give or take. This was general store, served as a post office. We actually have a photo inside our gift shop that actually has the old family that ran this location. We also have some of the old post office boxes in there as well.
Oh, wow.
So you can come and see little pieces of history of the building that remain intact throughout the entire time period of the building.
And this property started around 1870, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
1870.
Yeah, the site itself was purchased and what they call the mansion was built in 1870. This building came a little bit later, as with most of the outstructures on the site.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how many total structures are on this property?
There are, depending on what you're counting.
What you count as a structure?
Twice.
Yeah.
There's over 19.
Yeah, over 19.
Wow. So again, when you drive by this, you see like two buildings, maybe three.
Maybe 3.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But there's 19 on this property. And the property is how many acres?
It's 173 acres.
173
which is
acres.
Pretty big, yeah.
Yeah.
It includes the Indian Mound.
It looks like 8 or 10 acres
Yeah.
when you drive by.
It does. It's actually much more extensive than that. That's why that kind of makes it fun when you're interacting with people too, when they come on site and they do the tour and then they walk around and see all the outbuildings. Like people spend a good hour, 2, 3, just depending on how much they're interested in looking around. So there's a lot to see.
The farm was purchased and being built purely farm. At what point did the general store, some of these other things come into play in the property?
It was purely farm originally in the 1870s when it was built by Captain Nichols. It was after the war between the states, and Captain Nichols brought his family, his wife and daughter, Anna Ruby. That may ring a bell with some. We can dive into that later, but and established the estate here initially in 1870s.
So most people who are semi-familiar with North Georgia know Anna Ruby Falls.
Right.
So that is obviously named.
It is. It's the namesake for Anna Ruby Nichols. So Captain Nichols and Kate Nichols' only surviving child, his name was Anna Ruby, and she has her bedroom here in the mansion on the property. And the legend goes that Captain Nichols and her enjoyed horseback riding, which we do know is true. We have pictures of them, evidence of them horseback riding, portraits and such. And the estate was pretty massive at that time, and that they happened upon Anna Ruby Falls on horseback, and he coined named the falls after his daughter, and apparently, that stuck for 150 years. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Learned something new today.
So actually, and along those lines, next year is going to be our 150th anniversary for the farm, and we have planned a fantastic Falls to Farm hike that you'll be hearing about soon in 2020, and it's 11 miles by foot from Anna Ruby Falls to Hardman Farm, and you can walk the entire way. It's connected by 3 trails.
That is awesome. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And that's, can you give us a teaser on time frame? Is it going to be spring, fall?
2020, we hope to host, we'll host the first one for our first day hike, which is across all of state parks in Georgia, which is January 1st, where we encourage everyone to get out after the holidays and start your first, go walk off all of that Thanksgiving and Christmas treats on January 1st. So we're planning to host it then, and then we're going to host it again for our National Trails Day in June as well.
Okay. So you mentioned just kind of the culture around the Parks Department. For you guys specifically, what's the best part about getting to do what you do? People see the sitcoms like Parks and Recreation, and they may have gone into, let's say, a government office that was, less than jubilant at some point in their in their life.
Haven't we all?
But,
even the government workers.
But for you guys, what makes this just what it is? Because you guys clearly are enjoying what you do. I mean, that was evident from the time you opened the door. So what is it? What's it for each of you as far as why this is a great place for you?
Again, like I said, the people make it great, and also our guests make it great, because I have always enjoyed working at parks where I get to share my enthusiasm for that site with other people, and they get enthusiastic. And so it's really fun just to be able to bounce that off of each other and to share that with guests, so that they have a really awesome experience. So that's kind of what it is for me. And also personally, I've always been fascinated by the history of the late 1800s. Everyone laughs, but I love Little House on the Prairie, and I wanted to be Laura Ingalls Wilder when I grew up. So this is my childhood dream. It's sad that I'm afraid
a lot of people don't even know what that is.
That's true. Oh, that is sad. Well, just Google it if you don't know who Laura Ingalls Wilder is, and go read Little House on the Prairie and watch all 12 seasons on DVD. I can let you borrow mine. Truly, it's fun because we do get to dress up in period clothing, and if you've ever been in South Georgia to the Agorama, you may know
is that like Comic-Con for this industry?
No, it's in Tifton, and it's an agricultural museum, and they have a site that's similar to ours in that it recreates history from that period, and they have volunteers that dress up and operate, mule plows and stuff. So it's really interactive, and actually went there several times and volunteered as a kid. So it's kind of interesting that I ended up sometime later here at Hardman Farm. So it's really fun when we get to participate in those kinds of things and dress up and have those experiences for guests. And for example, recently I got to actually bring my horse to an event and dress up and ride around. I mean, how many people get to be paid to do that?
No.
So it's really fun.
Most places you have to sign like liability waivers and all sorts of
Yeah, so it was great. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, I did note the irony involved in having to Google Laura Ingalls Wilder. Just kind of noting that. For me, to kind of echo what Scarlett had said, it's really the people that visit us. It's always nice to kind of get to know them. And while a lot of our job can be sitting at the computer answering emails for a lot of the day, we really do look forward to going out and meeting people and meeting our guests and visitors, just getting to know them a little bit more. Also, being a part of the Department of Natural Resources and the sites, we're really part of an extended family. Whenever we have conferences and meetings like that, then we get to kind of touch base and kind of interact with people. I haven't seen you in 6 months. How's things going at Laura S. Walker, places like that? So people that you wouldn't really know or talk to very much, that they do a really good job at getting us together to bounce ideas off of each other and things like that. Also, Scarlett mentioned the Agorama. I had some character building experiences down there a couple of summers as well.
Any that you can share?
It gets hot in South Georgia.
When you were sharing this, I was like, I'm hoping this is like in November.
No. Yeah,
gosh.
July. They bring all these kids in from elementary school. I was in third grade one year, and it was every bit of 100, 105 degrees. They got us wearing long sleeves and pants, just plowing a field.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, I was a very
What do you mean
picky.
heat stroke?
I was a very picky eater when I was in third grade, but I ate all of my lunch those weeks. It was quite tasty.
It's like you can go to Agorama, or you can go work on the railroad.
Yeah, exactly.
Pick one. You'll never be the same. So tell us about some of the, one of the things you mentioned with your horse, some of the things that you have here at the property for families, because I would say there's a perception from a lot of people that know of Helen, have maybe been once or twice or been through, that it's, kind of all it is a tourist, thoroughfare, if you will. And you've got tubing and ice cream and candy and Oktoberfest, and that's about it. But there's more to do here specifically for families. So can you share a little bit about what you have going on here at the farm geared towards families?
Certainly, and you're absolutely right about that. So we like to really create experiences for families here. One of the newest and probably biggest experiences that we have now that people are just loving is our Helen to Hardman Heritage Trail. And it's 0.8 of a mile, paved, ADA accessible. It's bicycle friendly, pet friendly.
Grandma can come.
Grandma can totally come, and she can take a rest at Nora Mill Overlook. If she gets tired, there's benches along the way. We have interpretive panels along the way with little activities for kids, like how far can you jump, and it has like a deer and a fox and various different animals on there. We have a train whistle. The kids can pull the rope, and it sounds like a train whistle. Like I said, and a couple of other interpretive panels along the way, and it follows the Chattahoochee River the entire way. And actually, we'll take you all the way from Hardman Farm into the south side of Helen. So it connects us to Helen. So and Helen to us. I mean, you could make a whole day of it. You could park here, walk into town. If you wanted to tube, you could. If you wanted to grab lunch, you could grab lunch. You could walk up to the park. If you wanted to walk all the way to downtown, you could. I mean, the options are really limitless.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to walk all the way to Ada Ruby Falls, you could.
Yeah.
So aside from that, we have over this year alone counting, we have 36 programs and special events planned.
Wow.
So my advice to anyone would be to look at our website, at our events. Mm-hmm. They're all listed there. And if you see something that, you guys would be interested in, try to plan to come around that. Something we have frequently is Farm Animal Fun Day. Throughout the season, we have it almost monthly. That's really popular with kids and families, so they can see real farm animals up close and learn a little bit about farming and the animals of our site from back in the day. And then we also have a local famous author, so people that are interested in books or reading. He comes about once a month, and you can get your book signed and learn more about him. Emery Jones, a lot of people know him. His play's going on right now at the Saltee Center, the Valley Where They Danced. We went and saw it last weekend. It was terrific. So we have big special events, festivals in the fall. We have Victorian Christmas in the winter. That's huge with families. So we have a lot of hay rides and things like that. So we have a lot of stuff going on.
Your property's 100, how many acres?
173 acres.
178. We're obviously in the North Georgia area. Any animal stories from around here? because I live down in Gainesville, and we have black bears apparently in Gainesville now. So you're obviously further north where they would normally be. Do you have any sightings of bears?
Oh, yes.
Or,
yeah. We do have bear sightings. In fact, it was week before last, we had a bear sighting on the trail, the Helen to Hardman Heritage Trail, right across from Normill. So that was posted. You can actually go to Facebook and find that picture. It's posted on there. You'll notice if you come, we have bear-proof trash containers out front. It's really fun watching the humans try to figure out how to open them. It's almost more comical than anything else. But we have those at both the entrance to the trail on the other end and here, because we do have bears, and then we'll come and get in the trash. So we had to have those.
It's funny, as I was mentioning, being in real estate, there's like a gazillion types of childproof locks. And every so often you come across one you've not encountered before, and you're just like, okay.
This is new.
I should be able to figure this out. I had one last week. I'm like, okay, you push, you pull, you twist, you lift.
Yeah.
But,
the combination.
Yeah, a combination.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, but we have, of course, deer, and we actually have a lot of groundhogs around here. You'll see them from time to time. You'll see a lot of deer, a ton of rabbits. You'll see rabbits and turkeys, in the season when they're out. Usually the spring, I think, the turkeys, we see them a lot. Sometimes again later in the fall. But when you're coming up our drive, it's very wooded on both sides, and you will see, actually, you need to drive slow because you will run over a rabbit. They just dart out in front of you. Like, don't drive fast. But you'll see a lot of rabbits and turkeys, too.
Talk a little bit about the Victorian Christmas thing that you mentioned. So we're here in the start of the fall, late summer. So we've got a few months to plan out. Share a little bit about what that is, what that looks like for people who don't know.
Absolutely. It's probably one of our biggest events of the year. We kind of have our events sort of categorized by how big they are. It's probably the biggest event of the year. It runs 3 weekends, Friday and Saturday evenings only, of December.
Okay.
And again, all of these dates and times are on our website, and it runs from 4 to 7 p.m. And what it is an experience of Christmas back in the 1870s. So you'll expect it will get dark. We have flashlights for people because it gets very dark here. We don't have any type of artificial lighting on the property. There'll be wagon rides with percher and horses. They're beautiful. Everyone loves the horses. And we'll take them from the visitor center down to the mansion where they can hop off or on, and they can go tour the mansion. The mansion is decorated from both levels with all natural greenery. Everything is how they would have decorated back in 1870s with things they found out in the woods. So things that we have are things like magnolia leaves and evergreen leaves. Branches, and our friends group gets together and they make all of these beautiful big garlands, and they help us decorate, and we have Christmas trees in every room. It's just very beautiful. We'll have Christmas music being played live, either a banjo player or a 3-piece band, and this year we will also have a harp player on some nights. And once it gets a little closer, I will post kind of a schedule so you can kind of see the different musicians and what you might be interested in on what night. We'll have a campfire with s'mores outside. Santa will be there every night in the mansion.
Santa was also there in 1870.
He was. Yes. He totally was. So he'll be in the mansion, which is really cool just to experience that. And like I said, it gets dark, so you get to experience this really cool ambiance of the mansion, of what it would have been like back in those days. So.
Cool. That the sort of thing that you need to make reservations for?
You don't have to make reservations for it. It's kind of open house, so you come anytime you would like between 4 and 7 p.m. that evening, and you get to experience all of those things.
What's one of so you've been here for a while. What do you think this property itself, just as a, I don't even say like a hidden staple, but it kind of is in this area. What does it add to just the draw of people coming? I would say mostly coming north, because that's where most of the traffic comes from. Because I've been in the traffic, and going south is a cakewalk. It's going north is a logjam. What do you think this location, this site, adds to just the fullness of what North Georgia is?
I think it adds incredible value. It adds a tremendous amount of history and culture to this particular location. Without it, it would be missing a tremendous opportunity. Like you said, the Indian Mound in the beginning.
I was leading into that.
Everybody. I mean, nobody knows where Hardman Farm is or what is Hardman Farm. No one knows. But the moment you say Indian Mound, everyone's like, knows. "Oh yeah, I've driven by that like 100 times."
People in Florida know what the Indian Mound is.
Everyone knows what the Indian Mound is. And truly, it's the second most iconic feature. Recognized feature in Georgia. Do you know what the first is?
I'm going to guess the dome.
Stone Mountain.
Stone Mountain.
So we're number 2, which is still good. We'll take number 2. So yes, and again, our site is a baby site. We've only been open for 3 seasons. 4 seasons. Wow. We're a baby site. Mm-hmm. I mean, 4 seasons is not very long in the grand scheme of things when you look at all the other parks that have been open for 50, however many years. Yeah. But we've grown tremendously every year in those 4 years. So going back to kind of your original question, the fact that people can find out what is that, you weren't even sure what to call it, the Indian mound thingy, white gazebo-y thingy over there. People can actually stop here and take a tour and learn what is that? What does that mean? What is the white gazebo thing? And also, they don't even know all of this other stuff is across the highway there. Mm-hmm. They learn about Hardman Farm, and they see the mansion and, be able to explore all the outbuildings. So I think it's just totally invaluable as far as that goes. And it adds a tremendous amount to the value of tourism in our area. And so that's kind of the other really exciting thing about being here. Yeah.
Yeah. If somebody is thinking about contemplating, you're talking their language just as far as somebody that just loves history, loves to study, cultural significance to things in our area, or maybe they're visiting from another area, and they love their location like you love this location. Any gold nuggets of wisdom that you would give to somebody as far as because your comment was dead on. No one in the government is going to be a gazillionaire. So you do it because you love what you do. But when you do that, you genuinely don't work a day in your life.
Right.
So for somebody who is in that kind of sticking point of, I'd really like to do this, but I don't know that I'm going to make the money I want to make or have the career path I want to have, what would you say to somebody like that?
That's definitely a personal choice, but for me, like what you said, is you don't ever work a day in your life. When I start dreading going to work every day, or it's not enjoyable in some measure. Of course, there's always hard days. That's true for anything. Mm-hmm. But in generally speaking, then that makes me start to question, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. We only have so many numbered days on this earth, and for me personally, I don't want to spend very many of them miserable. Mm-hmm. So it's important that it's something that makes you happy. The other really cool thing to me is, this site is going to be here way long after I'm gone, career speaking and otherwise. So the things that we, the things that we get to do and improve on it now are kind of a lasting legacy. And how many people really get to do that? That you contributed, even if it was just a tiny little bit, you left a little bit of goodness at that place. Yep. And so that just, really makes me happy.
Well said. It's about to be leaf looker season, log jam season here in Helen. Anything coming up on the September, October calendar, November calendar you specifically want to highlight? We talked about what's coming in December, but anything between now and then as far as activities, events, etc. here?
Sure. Again, we do our monthly Farm Animal Fun Day and Emory Book Signing Days going all the way through November. So check our schedule of events for those dates. And then September, we'll be doing a Your State Parks Day on September 29th. And that's an opportunity to give back to your parks or to any park, really. So feel free to join us for that. You get a included tour of the mansion if you help and volunteer that day. And then in October, on October 26th, we'll be having, it's the last Saturday of October, we'll be having our big Mountain Farm celebration. Probably second to Victorian Christmas. You can expect food vendors, arts and craft vendors, and then, over probably 15 demonstrations. So things like black powder,
Yeah,
moonshine
black powder, baby.
demonstrations, gem mining, butter churning. There'll be animals. There'll be plowing with mules, wagon rides, tractors. There'll be all kinds of hands-on, so it's a really big family-friendly event.
If I came, could I plow a field with a mule?
We'll see what we can do.
It's a bucket list thing. Anything
fun.
incorporating donkeys or mules, I'm in.
Hey.
So you mentioned just kind of the lasting legacy of this property. I would assume that the goal is focused on preservation of the property as it is, not, throwing up a convention center, kind of thing. Yeah. If you didn't see the look on her face, you should go on YouTube. What things would you like to see expand maybe over the next decade at the property here?
There's always things to improve on, and we actually have a master plan for the future. So I'll probably let Clint address some of those ideas.
Yeah, a couple of things we have in the works that are actually coming up. Not really sure exactly where they are specifically on the priority list, but I know sometime in the next year we have a lighting project that's going to be underway. So we're going to have our upper parking lot and that path that comes down, that'll all be lit. A couple of places on the site that'll be lit. Buildings wise, some of the priorities are the creamery, the caretaker's house, and the game room. We call it the game room, but it was used as living quarters for quite a while. So it gives you an idea of the size and the scope of somebody who would have a game room that size. But those are a couple of things that we have. There's always restoration and preservation is never done. Whenever we have a break in the winter, there's always something at the mansion that needs to be repaired. This past winter, Lee, our head maintenance guy, he calls himself maintenance man extraordinaire. He is our gardener, our farmer, our carpenter, you name it, he does it. He rebuilt a portion of the porch and some porch steps as well. Work's always being done here.
Cool.
And as people are coming here also, as they can see that work that's being done throughout the years, but with all these festivals and events, it used to be traditionally that you come to Hardman Farm, you check it off the list, you come back in a couple years. But the way we have things that are, as we're organizing it, you can come back 3, 4, 6, 8 times in a year, and there's always something different that's going on here.
Again, this is why we're doing this, because I would say 99% of the people who are listening had no idea any of this was even offered in here. And we're, depending on where you're coming from, 30 minutes to an hour from pretty much anywhere in Northeast Georgia. So, all right, I'm going to go off the reservation a little bit here. What I like to call our lightning round has nothing to do with anything. It's just fun question time. All right, so I should have asked. I keep pulling things from movies. And I forget to ask before we go on camera if you've seen the movies. So I'm getting. I'm getting indication that Clint maybe has seen a lot of movies. Okay, which is the greater ending of the namesake movie? So I'll remind you, both of these have bronze statues, so there's really no wrong answer, but one is more right than the other. So in the movie Rudy making the sack and the final play of the game, or in the movie Seabiscuit coming out of the hedges on the final turn of the Kentucky Derby, I believe it was.
I would definitely probably say Seabiscuit. Yeah.
Seabiscuit.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that there are different versions of the ending of that movie? I saw the first one, which is the best one, and I don't know which version it is to tell anybody, but it's the one that'll make you cry. And then there's the other version that I saw that I'm like, wait a minute. No, that's not how he came around the turn. So apparently there was a couple different versions released, but
scrap that one. Put it on
yes. They're both now. Rudy, what's the guy that was the janitor? I don't remember his name.
Oh, Rock. I can't remember.
Rock.
Yeah.
I was gonna call him Rock, but I was afraid I was pigeonholing his career.
Yeah.
So, you realize that if you're under like 30, 35, you have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. You have no idea who Rock is. He is.
Just shut up and fast forward. So the scene with him in the tunnel gets me every time.
Man, he's brilliant.
Every time I think I'm good, and then he just sits there and starts clapping. I'm like, no, Rock, you're doing it to me again. Okay, so we have talked about several times, and I've held it to the end. How do people find your schedule? How do they find you on social media? What is the best way for parents and families to track down your calendar and plan out their weekends?
So you can visit us at our website, gastateparks.org/Hardman Farm, or you can just search for Hardman Farm at georgiastateparks.org. And we're also on Facebook. Just search for Hardman Farm State Historic Site, and you'll find our page there. So we post all of our events on Facebook, on our Facebook page, and we post all of our events on our website. And you can always call us at 706-878-1077 and just ask one of our docents to let you know what's coming up. And we're also on Twitter and Instagram.
And hours of operation week to week, does that stay the same year round? Do you change hours?
It is during our season. So we'll close the end of December and reopen February.
January 1st we're open, and January 2nd through January 31st we're closed.
Okay. And we're open Thursday through Monday, 10 to 4.
Okay. Thursday through Monday, 10 to 4.
And our hours of operation and schedule are also on the website as well.
And the website one more time.
gastateparks.org/Hardman Farm.
Hardman Farm. That's HARDMANFARM. All right. Well, we really appreciate your time. Thanks for being with us and sharing a little bit about your story, your journey, and the farm here. You know, our hope and part of the reason that we're doing this is exactly for stuff like this. Our tagline is "Embrace life where you live," and for this, even if you're down like I am in Gainesville, you consider Helen your backyard. You've given me several great day trips to take the family on Saturdays, so it was worth my time, and I hope that we're fighting for parking here by this time next year.
Awesome.
So thanks a lot, guys, for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today on our episode. You can find more out about us at nglpodcast.net. That's nglpodcast.net. You can find us on our Facebook page or Instagram. Just look for North Georgia Life Podcast. You can email us if you have suggestions on places that we should interview and feature for future podcast episodes. The email is northgeorgialifepodcast@gmail.com. We've got T-shirts on our website, all sorts of fun stuff like that. And that's it for today. This is the North Georgia Life Podcast. Embrace life where you live.